Welcome to the Edge of Greatness podcast.
Let's go back into the imposter syndrome stuff here, because there were what was it? There were 5 types of imposter syndrome. And I kind of wanted to go over those just a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
So you started with like the perfectionist. So explain the perfectionist and kind of how that works.
Yeah. So, I think with, and this is, I think a lot of it's going to depend on the different researchers that you look at or you talk to. Some will tell you this is an oversimplified version. Some might say it's an overcomplicated version. But I can't remember offhand now the exact researcher, but it's someone who's kind of popularized these sort of 5 archetypes. And I thought, did a really good job of that breakdown where you can start to identify maybe some of these things in, kind of yourself and others. Yeah. I think the perfectionist is someone where, you almost overcompensate, for that fear of being found out. So it's like, I'm worried about every little last, insignificant detail. And like, and that's the one where it becomes much more of, I would say kind of a paralysis around, sort of like if you want to do something, or you want to put yourself out there, or you want to take a chance, take a leap at something, you kind of become paralyzed and you wait for every condition to be just right, to be just perfect, rather than, and I think like the thing that I resonate with, because for me, like the tendencies of like, quote unquote, the perfectionist is a lot of where, I think I kind of fall. And so something that continually I try to remind myself, is this idea of, done is better than perfect. I'm a big Cubs fan. And, Joe Madden and Theo Epstein, I think they did a lot of work around some of this type of stuff. As they rebuilt that culture. You got to think 2012, or whatever. I think it was right around 2012 when Theo took over. I mean, Cubs are the worst team, the lovable losers. Right. And they changed that. And a big part of how they changed that was, this idea of like, done is better than perfect. And like also having some fun with it of like Joe Madden's big thing was like, try not to suck. It was just like this playful thing of like, it's fun. Yeah. Like, but put you, kind of put yourself out there, and I think so. For me, it's kind of like, that's what I look at as being the anecdote or antidote, so to speak, is kind of just start, and realize that is no matter how much time you spend on it, it's not going to be perfect, and it's important to obsess about details. But making sure, like, are you obsessing over the right details? But also, like, it's also the concept of like, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step.
Yeah,
it's like you're not going to get there. Like, you're not going to get to this finished product that's like excellent and like, whatever, without going through all the rough patches along the way. Whatever it might be.
No, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you said you see yourself kind of in that perfectionist thing. I see myself kind of in the soloist, and yeah, like I don't like to ask people for help. I like to do it on my own. But as I'm getting older, I'm like, you know what? This isn't the way to do things, because there's so many great people out there that can give me feedback to make myself better. And so the soloist is kind of the guy who is always by themselves, right? They want to make sure that they're doing a great job, but they want to do it without any help, because if they ask for help, then they're seen as a fraud, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So, I think, and that's where you see, and I think it's so powerful to like kind of understand some of this stuff, because, of course we're going to see some of it in ourselves. But whatever you do, whether you maybe you coach, maybe you manage people, maybe you teach, students, or maybe you are a player yourself, you have a coach or you have a boss. I think it's powerful to start to understand some of these constructs, because it's also going to help you to like help unlock these other people. And yeah, like I think the soulless is like you said, is, it's not that you're not maybe asking for help because you're like, oh man, like I don't want to burden these other people. But it's like, I'm not going to ask for help, or I'm not going to ask a question here, because then if I ask for help, then that's going to expose the fact that I need help, or I don't know, or and so, I think, especially as it relates to helping other people, is really reframing and like praising the idea of asking for help,
Right.
like, and I think it's, there, over time maybe is a negative stigma at times that has built up kind of in society around, asking for help, or like, what if I ask a dumb question,
Yep.
and things like that. I think you'll also find people like that, just anecdotally, they might ask a question, but they're always going to apologize. They're going to be like, sorry, sorry, just, one question. Sorry, and it's like you're apologizing for it. Like, don't apologize for your question. Just ask your question, and understand. I think part of it too is like, in our society, and all the different books and success stories that you read, like, the movies we watch about, whoever different, successful person, it's made to be about the individual hero. It's the individual's journey. And like, we leave out the fact, like, we talk about Einstein, and it's like, Einstein was this like, lone genius. And it's like, no, like Einstein had all kinds of people around him, supporting him, helping him build these things. He's kicking off with back and forth. He's asking for help, all this sort of stuff. So, I think that's the other thing is kind of normalizing it and getting away from this sort of falsehood of, kind of like the individual or like lone success story. Like that
Right.
just doesn't happen. Like, we talk about it that way, but it doesn't happen that way. There are people that shape, their path to get them there, to prop them up.
Thank you for joining us today on the Edge of Greatness podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and join us again next time as we continue to dig deeper into the key components of greatness. The path to greatness is never linear, so remember to keep pursuing greatness no matter what. Keep stretching your abilities, reach for the stars, and fall flat on your face. But no matter what happens, remember, whenever we fall, always get up. Until next time, I'm Charles Schultz, and this was the Edge of Greatness podcast.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. Please take a moment now to subscribe, rate, and review our show. We are all on the edge of greatness.